So Dana White has embarrassed himself at the Canelo vs. Crawford press conference because he cannot answer a question, and he gets really upset when people ask him difficult questions. He's not used to this because he doesn't let actual journalists come to the UFC events anymore. He picks and chooses who gets to come in. Like people like Ariel Helwani, they get kicked out because they ask difficult questions. All he wants is, right, the John Morgans to come in and go, "So, Dana, when are you coming to Texas next? How does it feel being in Las Vegas? How does it feel main eventing on this Saturday night?" He's not actually used to difficult questions. And you can tell because he avoids his question like the play. We're going to listen to the whole clip and then we're going to break it down. I won't interrupt. We're going to play the whole thing and then we'll break it down. I didn't know what the Muhammad Ali Reform Act was, so I looked it up. And it's just really scummy from Dana to want to, change this. So we're going to listen and then we'll react.
Couple questions for Dana. Dana, this fight, as you said earlier in the week, is set to be the third highest gate in combat sports history, the second biggest gate you've promoted alongside Mayweather-McGregor. The top 5 gates in combat sports history come in boxing, and they come in the last 10 years. So my question to you is, why then do you want to make sweeping changes to the Muhammad Ali Reform Act that is meant to protect fighters to bring about a business model that currently has your company already paid out $375 million in antitrust lawsuits and has 2 potential pending class action lawsuits on the way as well?
Well, before we get into it, I just want to say, fucking brilliant question. Absolutely fantastic question. Again, we'll break down the act afterwards. I just want to cut in just for a sec before Dana White responds and just say, that is journalism. That's what a journalism does. They ask important, difficult questions to people like Dana. They don't just suck up to him and go, "Dana, great event. Are you excited for this weekend?" They ask actual fucking questions. So we'll listen to Dana White's response. Go on, Dana. Answer the question. Why do you want to change this act to change boxing to your model, where fighters are literally being paid out from lawsuits or class action lawsuits, whatever it is, because they pay shit? What's the answer?
This is obviously a long discussion. If you want to talk to me about that, set up an interview. This isn't about me and my business. It's about these 2 guys on Saturday night.
My follow-up, Dana. Earlier this week, the California State Athletic Commission had a hearing about TKO trying to bring those changes to the Ali Act, and it was postponed 3 months.
Listen, I get it. You want to showboat right now. Set up an interview with me if this is really what you want to talk about.
It's America, baby.
If you have
First
questions
Amendment.
for these 2, ask them and you can set up an interview with me.
Dana, my follow-up is, if TKO can't make those changes to the Ali Act, will you still invest in the sport of boxing? Will you compete in the market?
Listen, if you want to be an asshole, let's do it in private and we can do an interview.
Yes or no?
If you want to showboat, I get it. If you have questions for these 2 that are fighting on Saturday, that's a different story. Fight. This isn't a discussion to have at a press conference for these 2 that are going to fight on Saturday, 2 legends. If you want to set up an interview with me and ask me these questions, let's do it one-on-one.
Sounds
and
good.
You can ask me anything you want.
All right. Well, Terence and Saul, have a good fight.
Yeah, you have a question for these 2?
No.
No? Beat it. Go ahead. Who's next?
Dana White. So I looked up the Ali Reform Act. Okay, ChatGPT'd it. In a nutshell, the main goals: protect the boxers' rights by making sure they know how much money is being made from their fights, increase transparency between fighters, promoters, and sanctioning bodies, stop conflicts of interest. For example, someone can't be the boxer's manager and promoter. Yep. Ensure fair rankings and title shots, so fighters don't get unfairly blocked. Strengthen health and safety standards in boxing. You know, it basically just, in a nutshell, like in MMA. They sign long contracts, exclusive long-term contract. Basically, you can only fight in this company. They can control who they fight, when they fight, or whether they can fight elsewhere. You know, they don't know the full revenue of a promotion makes from their fights, ticket sales, pay-per-view sponsorship. So they just get paid, obviously, the flat fee. Okay, they don't really know how... They usually don't know how much they make. The Ali Act forces disclosure in boxing, but not in MMA. So fighters often get a small fraction compared to the promoters. No independent rankings. I mean, we see this all the time. You know, for one that comes to mind, Taliesin Teixeira beat Justin Taffa in his debut and he was ranked. Don't know how that works. He didn't beat a ranked guy to become ranked. Same with, who was it? I can't remember who else. But, you know, there's been fighters that have just been put in their rankings just for the sake of it. You know? Boxers can fight for different promoters and sanctioning bodies, giving them more freedom. Yep, MMA fighters are usually locked into one promotion. They are. Okay, this is the big one. UFC on average receive about 15 to 20% of the event revenue compared to boxers who often take 60 to 80 of fight purses in big events. That's the big one. That's the big one. That's the big one. It's fighter pay. You know, Dana wants to basically make boxing like the UFC. They all fight under him at TKO, and he's the sole, like, they can only fight under TKO, and he sets, like, the flat fees that people are getting. You know, there's no, like, you know, Canelo can go fight for Turkey, you know, for one fight, and then he might go fight with Eddie Hearn for a little bit, and he might go fight with this guy and this guy. You know, it's Dana White takes the big pot, and he just gives them a flat fee. I believe he said that the champions under TKO, he wants to fight. He wants to make fight for about, I think he said 250k. 250k, I think he said. No champion's going to fight for that. And if that is the case, no one's going to be joining TKO. No one. So Dana White, when asked about this, we'll just get Dana White's nice little face up again. When asked about this, because it's a genuine question, you know, why would you want to change? Why would you want to try and change this when boxers are already, like, this act was put in place for boxers to have better pay, better conditions to work in. You know, there's a reason why, like he said, all the biggest gates in combat sports history have been in boxing. Because, you know, this is why, because it's a big business. But Dana wants to shrink it down to one company and implement the UFC pay model to boxing and the business model to boxing. And like the guy said, why would you want to bring a business model that's got you paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars in, like, compensation fees and this and that into boxing? You know, that's going to lose you money, surely, because no one's going to be happy with the pay scale. All right, and the working conditions, which obviously the UFC fighters were, and that's why you had to pay out. Is it 250k to each fighter that got, you know, awarded this payment fee? Why would you want to bring that over to boxing when there's clearly problems there? And Dana White's like, this isn't a question for right now at the press conference that I'm promoting. And well, it is, because this is your first boxing promotion. Why wouldn't they ask you about how you're going to promote boxing in the future? That is completely relevant. That's completely relevant. You know, they're going to ask you about your intentions, right, with your boxing promotion going forward at a boxing press conference that you're promoting. He has no issues with the UFC journalist asking him questions like, when are you going to go to Paris, Dana? When are you going to go here? Does he ever say, look, this isn't about me. This ain't about me. This is about the fighters. Why don't you ask the fighters some questions instead of asking me all the time? No, it's because it's a difficult question. He doesn't like it. He's not used to it because he's not been able to pick and choose which journalists can come in. Well, there's a reason why at UFC events it's the same faces asking the same shit questions. We haven't had a question like this since Ariel Helwani was in the fucking media group. And he doesn't like it. And he doesn't like it because he's being called out. And he's not used to it because it never happens at UFC. We get John Morgan, how does it feel to main event this weekend? Do you think you've got the tools to get it done? Hey, Dana, when are you going to go back to Florida? When are you going to go back to Canada? We're working on it, yeah. Who's got the next question? No. And then Dana White says, look, if you want to ask me this, let's get set up an interview. Like, that's never going to happen. Like, Dana White's going to accept an interview where he's going to look bad. He's going to deny that interview. That interview, I guarantee, will never happen. And if it does, I'm going to make a video on it because he'll look like an idiot. It's a good question. He avoids the question like the plague because he knows his answer won't. It's not an improvement to the what is it? To the fucking way it works now. Like, it's not an improvement to the already in place system of boxing pay. You know, like, you've got people like fucking Tyson Fury making hundreds of millions of dollars. Usyk, hundreds of millions of dollars. And I saw another interview where where another interviewer was like, no UFC fighter's ever got that much, and he's like, Conor McGregor, and she's like, well, yeah, but that's when he fought Floyd in boxing, and he's like, oh, no, and she's right, no one's ever made that much money in the UFC, and it's not like Dana can't afford it, he's just a greedy cunt. And my friend Ricky Blitz, shout out to Ricky Blitz, gave me a quote earlier about Dana White that's quite interesting. And, you know, it's pretty much spot on. He said, I find it ironic that Dana has become the greedy, bureaucratic kingpin that he always said that boxing was. It doesn't surprise me that he wants less rights for boxers, but good on that reporter for giving him the business and making that fat pig squeal. Abso-fucking-lutely. I agree. The reporter is the man. And like I said, he's just not used to it. And then he calls him an asshole, and he wants to get, you know, this is his moment. This is, what? You just want to make a moment and be the big guy. Listen, if you want to be an asshole, like, this is the problem with people. You ask them a question that they don't like, or an opinion that they don't like, then you're an asshole. But he's got no problem with journalists sucking up to him, but as soon as they ask a difficult question that he probably can't answer, the reason why he said this is because he doesn't have an answer. He's going to have to go, but if the interview happens, it'll be because he's gone back and he's thought of an answer. He's gone to his PR team and he said, right guys, how do we justify this? How do we justify making changes to the Muhammad Ali Reform Act, which was specifically put in place to give boxers more rights? How do we justify taking that away? You know? And then we have this utter clown. Right, glazing him.
And then Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter in my lifetime. He built an institution. You know why boxing's not as popular as it used to be anymore, right? UFC is really popular. That's because of Dana White.
Boxing's not popular anymore. What? Boxing's bigger than the UFC. I'm a UFC fan. Boxing's so much bigger than the UFC. That's why these guys are getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars per fight. Boxing's not popular anymore. The UFC is. That's because Dana White. Dana White's the best. Let me goggle the balls. Max Kellerman, you fucking... He's a clown. Just sucking up to him.
He built something like the NBA. Stop now, because he's about to do it for boxing again. For boxing now. You want an NBA or an NFL in boxing? Here it comes. Because he knows how to build an institution. And how do you do that?
Hey, Max. Boxing is always bigger and big.
Yes.
Don't say
look at Dana's
boxing
face.
is not big enough. Boxing is big. You know.
I mean, boxing has been so massive, and people have been getting paid so well from boxing. And I know not every boxer gets well paid, but the top guys do. A lot more. Like, the top guys in boxing make a lot more money than the top guys in the UFC, right? And boxing's been doing fine. Dana White's not been involved with boxing, and it's been absolutely fine. And Max Kellerman's like, listen, no one likes boxing anymore. No one watches it. Dana White's going to come and save it. Like, he doesn't need saving from Dana White, the greedy businessman who all he cares about is filling his own fucking pockets. Like the other guy said, there's a reason why he's paying out hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawsuits to his own fighters. There's a reason why.
How big is boxing?
Should it get bigger, yes or no? Should it get bigger, Canelo?
Maybe it's gonna be bigger, but look, boxing.
Should it get bigger? Any business should aim to get bigger. It doesn't mean that it's not already big. Should the NBA get bigger? Well, yeah, probably. Then they'd make more money. Right, well, there you go then. But you're saying that it's not big. Clown shit. And then I saw this. Saw this as well. And this really fucked me off as well. This really pissed me off. Really pissed me off. So, on the undercard fights, we're going to have performance of the night and fight of the night. 100,000 each for the fighters on the undercard from Turkey Al Sheikh. 100,000 for performance of the night and fight of the night. 100,000. That's double what the UFC fighters are getting. And Dana White could afford to pay $100,000 to his UFC fighters. He just doesn't want to because he's a greedy, bald, fat fuck. That's the bottom of it. That is literally all it is. He's just a greedy cunt. He doesn't want to pay $100K. He's just signed a $7.7 billion deal. You're telling me he doesn't have $100K to give out for fight of the night and performance of the night bonuses? Maybe he wants to keep that extra 50 G's to go gamble with the Nelk boys. You know, go play poker with the Nelk boys. Like a big grown-up. Embarrassing, bro. Either way, Dana White embarrasses himself.
Couple questions.
Yet again. Refuses to answer a difficult question because he can't answer it. And yeah, he's a clown. I don't know what you guys think about this. It's funny. And also, just so you know, guys, he's here, right? You know that business, that Goliath business, the UFC that he built, that Max Kellerman was going on about, you know, that he built from the ground up? Yeah. They have an event on this weekend. He's not going to be there, though, because he's here. So that business that he built, that business that he loves and cares about so much, Max Kellerman, that he's the fucking chief and head of, he's not even there this weekend. He's doing something else. Because he's got shit to do. I don't know what you guys think. Like and subscribe. Links are down below. Oh, I forgot to say, become a member today. I was going to say it at the start, but become a member. Alright, $1.99 per month. It's not a lot. I'm going to film some exclusive content, you know, MMA stuff, vlogs, all sorts of different stuff, just to get a more personal side of me. And I've also started a fitness channel that I'm going to be starting uploads on next week. So go subscribe to that. I'll link it down below. And until next time, I'll see you in a bit.